All right, Pac-Manians, back now with the third page, 10.3. I'm just going to do the top row of these. You can try these ones on your own for practice. And please don't forget, still got the handy dandy sheet. It's the one on the bottom, all right? Remember, if it's a whole number, I multiply by that number. If it's a fraction, I divide. Don't forget that if you use the sheet. Probably don't need to. There's not too many of these up here. So I'm going to go from pounds to ounces. Ounces are smaller, so I need more of them. Smaller, I need more, so I multiply. So I'm going to take my 23 times it by 16. Right? I told you you have to be good at multiplying 16s. 6 times 3, 18. Good. 6 times 2 is 12 plus the 1, 13. Got it. What do I put here? Please don't tell me it's a placeholder. It's an actually what? It's a 0 because I'm multiplying by 10. It's in the tens place. All right, 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. Hope I didn't give that away. And I'm going to add those up, and I get 8, 6, and 3. So I get 368 ounces. Boosh. Dunzo. All right, how about this one? See if you can do this one on your own. I'm going to go tons to pounds. Pounds are, of course, teeny tiny compared to a ton, right? How many pounds in a ton? 2,000. So remember, when I go from pounds and tons, I'm just going to multiply by 2 or divide by 2, right? And then deal with the zeros later. So 6 times 2,000, what's 6 times 2? That's 12, right? And then how many zeros do I add? 3. 1, 2, 3. Please don't set it up where you're multiplying and just putting zeros in, zeros in, and zeros in. You can just multiply by 2 and add 3 zeros. Easy peasy. All right, I want to go from ounces to pounds. Well, pounds are bigger, so I need fewer. And if I need fewer of something, I divide, right? So I'm going to take 144. And I'm going to divide it by, well, what's the conversion between ounces and pounds? The one I told you need to remember really well, 16, right? All right, we got a bummer here because I've got 144 and I've got 16. So I have to actually divide out all the way across to 144 because I cannot take 16 from 14. I can't put a 1 here and subtract, right? So you got to ask yourself, like I've always said, if you know it's going to come out even, it's just the nature of the question. What can I multiply 6 by to get something, a 4 in that spot? So what are my options? Pause it for a second, think about it. I'll come back. So what are some of my options here? I mean, 4 times 6 is 24, right? And I'm thinking 9. 9 times 6 is 54, right? So I've got 2 numbers that I could try that end with 4. So that's what I want to try. If I don't know what to try, what should I always try? That's right. Number 5 is going to cut it in half. And you know then if you need to go up or down. All right. So, but I've got this 4 or I've got 9. And when I look at it, I mean, what do you think we should try? Anybody think of it as a 4? Anybody think as a 9? I'm thinking 9. And the only reason I say that is that I know if I multiply 16 times 10, it's 160. And that is super duper close to 144, right? So let's try 9 first and see where we come up. So I'm going to go 16 times 9. All right, 9 times 6, like we already said, that's 54, right? I can use my multiplication chart or my knowledge of the facts, right? 9, and I put my 5 up here, and then 9 times 1 is 9 plus the 5, 14. Oopsie. Right, so I'm going to put 9 here, and then minus 144, I get 0. So this equals 9 pounds. All right. So that's how I would go about doing that one. And then down here, these are the same types of problems that we did yesterday. And do we want to multiply or divide? I mean, you can do it either way. For me, I always want to multiply, right? So I take the larger number and I multiply it out to get the bigger number, and then I compare it because to me that's easier. But you can do it either way you want. So what's bigger, ounces or pounds? That's right, pounds are bigger. So I'm going to take 8 and I'm going to multiply it by what? 16. So I'm gonna write 16 times 8. 6 times 8 is 48. 8 times 1 is 8, of course, plus the 4. 12. I get 128. So which is bigger, 128 or 130? Pac-Man always eats the bigger number, right? 130. Pounds to ounces. Now I can take 544 and divide it by 16, or I can take 34 and multiply it by 16. Either way, it's kind of a big number, but I think it's easier to multiply. So I'm going to take my 34 times 16. And I've got 6 times 4, which we just talked about. That is 24. How many think that's going to come out even? I'm wondering, right? Carry my 2 over here. 6 times 3, 18. 18 plus 2, 20. Got it. 204 so far. What do I put here? Not a placeholder. It's a 0. Good. Cross that out. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 3 is 3. Oh. 4 plus 0. 4 plus 0. 2 plus 3. 544. 5. What's bigger? 544 or 544? Trick question, right? They're equal. Good. All right, I've got pounds again to ounces. So if you want to take 229 and divide it by 16, you're more than welcome. But I'm going to take 14 and times it by 16, right? Because how many ounces in a pound? 16. All right. 14 times 16. What's 6 times 4? This keeps coming up. 24, right? 6 times 1 is 6 plus 2. 7, 8. What do I put here? Don't call it a placeholder. 0, right? Cross that out. All right, 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. What's always nice about multiplying by 16 is the second number is a 1, so that makes it really easy. All right, so 4 plus 0, 4. 8 plus 4 is 12. Carry my 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. I get 224. What's bigger, 224 ounces or 229 ounces? Do you want $229 or $224? I'll take the 229, please. Pac-Man always eats the bigger number. All right, I've got tons and I've got pounds, all right? And you could divide this too, but I think it's still easy to multiply. Remember what we said? We're going to multiply by 2 and then add how many zeros? 3 because it's 1,000, right? So I'm going to take my 16 times it by 2. This you probably already know since we're multiplying so many 16s lately. 16 times 2, well 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 1 is 2 plus the 1 is 3, so I get 32. That should sound familiar, right? And then how many zeros do I add? 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. What's bigger, 32,000 pounds or 32,000 pounds? I think they're the same, equal. All right, 5 pounds, 79 ounces, again, multiplying by 16. I like to put my 16 on top just because I like my 2-digit numbers that way. Whatever way you like, be consistent because you're going to make less mistakes that way. 5 times 6 is 30. Good. 5 times 1, 5 plus my 3 makes it 8. I get 80. So what's bigger, 80 or 79? 80. Pac-Man eats the bigger number. 85,000 pounds or 40 tons. You could probably do this one in your head and know right away. But let's just do it anyway. What do I multiply by? I'll take my tons and multiply them by 2, right? And then I'll add how many zeros? 3, and it's so easy. All right, so times 2. 40 times 2. 2 times 0. 2 times 0. 0. 2 times 4, 8, right? And then how many zeros do I add? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I got 80,000. How many of you saw that as 80,000 before we even got going? Probably a good many of you, right? So 85,000 is bigger than 80,000. All right. Okay, that's the end of that one. We're going to go to the bottom part of this page.